Good morning. It's 9 o'clock, January the 11th, 2021, and our regular Commissioners Court meeting is now in session. First item on the agenda is roll call by our County Clerk, Mary Jane Mayal. Morning, Mary Jane.
Good morning,
Happy
Judge.
New Year to you and Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Judge Raznell,
Present.
Commissioner Mendoza,
Present.
Commissioner Elizondo, Commissioner Solis,
Present.
Commissioner Garza.
Present.
We have quorum, Judge.
Thank you, Mary Jane. I want to welcome Commissioner Solis to the court. I look forward to working with you, Commissioner. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dr. Miller, are you here this morning? No. For invocation? Will everyone please rise for the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess if we could sort of socially space all of us that are sitting together, that would be a little better. If you don't mind. Yes, thank you. Communications Commissioners, I know a lot of things happening as we start the new year. COVID and the vaccine at the top of the list. We've got our new fire chief, and he's been working day and night trying to see if we can get our vaccines coming into our community and maybe provide an update for us then.
Yes, good morning, Judge, good morning, Commissioners, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Judge.
You know, we did have a meeting last Saturday, this past Saturday with Mary Plattner. She went ahead and, she went on board as far as signing on as a provider, because that was one of the issues we were having in our county as far as allocating the vaccines, where there was not that many providers signing up to be a provider, and that's one of the regulations that needs to be taken care of as far as signing up. So Mary went ahead and signed. She is practically on board already. There's still some kinks that she's trying to fix, but we still don't have an actual date of when we'll be getting the first wave of, well, we already got the first one.
Yeah, the Department of State Health Services is providing some limited, vaccinations, but not to the entire public.
Not to the entire public. No, Mary, she should be getting something. I don't want to mention any time frame because we're not sure, but should be in the coming weeks. It was stressed a lot by the state. I spoke to the state again over the weekend, as we all have been. I know, I want to also thank everybody for doing their part, because we've been doing our part as far as allocating those vaccines. We've been making our endless phone calls to the state, to the representatives. The state did stress out a lot that we must follow the regulations as far as administering those vaccines. That's going to be a main role in us allocating those vaccinations and keep on getting them. And the regulations as far as we need to continue with our Tier 1A and Tier 1, we'll continue with our Tier 1 and our Phase 1A and the Phase 1B. There's still a lot of people in the community under Phase 1A that do qualify that have not been vaccinated yet. So these first vaccines that will be coming in through Mary, we will have to follow the regulations for, we do have to continue vaccinating Phase 1A.
Sure, certainly, and we reached out to other medical providers in the area, and I spoke with, of course, Gateway, the CEO of Gateway. They've requested an allocation for their clinic, and of course, once they receive the allocation, it would be administered first to the staff, then to the patients,
Yes.
and then to the general public that qualify under those tiers. Reached out to LMC, also their Zapata family clinic here, and they're working on trying also to access some vaccines. So I think, and also I think very importantly, Daniel's Pharmacy, which has been very helpful in our community with the testing, reached out to them, spoke with their CEO, and they're also on board. They've requested vaccines specifically for Zapata County.
Yes, sir.
And they're very hopeful that they will receive them very soon. So in light of that, we started, reaching out to the public to get a list of those that qualify within the tiers of Phase 1. And certainly the public is responding to that. We want to administer to those folks that qualify, especially those 65 and over and those with underlying conditions. We've also set up a list of those homebound residents that will not be able to travel, and we're trying to get the information to them, and they certainly will be the first to be administered once the vaccines arrive, which should be shortly. I'm thinking maybe by the end of this week, hopefully next week, we will start the vaccination program in Zapata, and hopefully try to get back to normal as soon as possible. But yes, we've been reaching out to all the medical providers where they're on board. We will, and the county ourselves, we requested on behalf of our fire department another 1,500 doses to the state, and hopefully we'll receive those too. So I hope in the next few weeks we will have enough doses to make a significant impact on all the residents here and have them vaccinated. I think Danny, you mentioned something about Laredo making an announcement, the HEBs.
Yes, Laredo, I spoke to Chief Hurd, he's the EMC for City of Laredo. They sent me a flyer, and to my understanding, due to the chaos that they had at the TAMU drive-through, City of Laredo mayor made it a city ordinance that any and all vaccines allocated for Laredo were going to be for residents of City of Laredo and Webb County only. But then that was overturned, I believe, like 2 days later. So City of Laredo will be having, we push out the sites as far as vaccinations where sites will be taking place. It's going to be at most of their HEB pharmacies, Laredo ER. It's a number of sites in Laredo. I just don't have the list on me right now, but we will make sure and push that out. But I did speak to the EMC in Laredo. He did assure us that it is available for our people too in our county. There is a registration as well, but the instructions are in that flyer, and we will push that out to our community as well so they can take advantage of that. We just want to make sure and rest assured to our people that we are going to get some for us as well. But if this one comes in first, by all means, if they want to take advantage of that first, that's up to them. Or if they want to wait for the ones we get here, that's up to them as well. But the same way we are right now with the state office next to DPS, they're doing their part as well. Like you mentioned, Daniels, Mary Plattner, Laredo is another avenue that we can take. So
Gateway and the LFC clinic.
Gateway, LFC as well.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you can sign up or try and get it anywhere you can, that would be the best thing to do.
I think what's important to reiterate to the public is that for peace of mind for everybody, eventually there will be enough vaccines for everyone. It's just taking a little bit of time for it to roll in. Chief, can you talk a little bit about, just for the public's information, what tier 1A and 1B, what individuals they cover?
Yes, like I mentioned before, it is very imperative that our providers follow the regulations. One of the regulations is that we are still having a lot of people in phase 1A that have not been vaccinated. So part of the allocation will be for those that qualify under 1A. The people that fall under 1A, tier 1, is, I skipped a lot of them because a lot of them don't apply to us because we don't have hospitals or those types of facilities. But in essence, it's physicians, nurses, clinical staff providing laboratory, pharmaceutical, diagnostics, and rehabilitation services, nursing homes, EMS providers who engage in 911 emergency services like pre-hospital care and transport, home health care workers, including hospice care, who directly interface with vulnerable and high-risk patients, long-term care facilities, and there is a second tier to phase 1. The second tier is as far as community pharmacy staff who provide direct services to clients, including vaccination or testing individuals who may have COVID, public health and emergency response staff directly involved in administration of COVID testing and vaccinations. The people that are towards the end of that list is embalmers and funeral home workers who have direct contact with descendants, medical examiners and other medical certifiers who have direct contact, and school nurses who provide health care to students and teachers. The phase 1B, those are people 65 years of age and older, people 16 years of age and older, with at least one chronic medical condition that puts them at risk or severe illness of the virus that causes COVID-19, such and is not limited to cancer, kidney disease, COPD, heart conditions, heart failure, coronary artery disease, solid organ transplantation, obesity and severe obesity, pregnancy, sickle cell disease, and type 2 diabetes. Like the judge had mentioned as well, these people that fall under this are also the homebound people under the 65 years of age and older. They are asked to, whenever they do register, do mention that they are homebound and unable to reach our providers, so we would make it a priority to go vaccinated in their residence. Yes, sir.
I think part of that meeting also, on Saturday, for its preparations for the access
Yes.
where we're gonna administer these vaccines. The decision of the community center was, I think, an appropriate one where, we will be setting up, at least 100 chairs, 6 feet apart, trying to get 100 individuals vaccinated within a short period of time. That way we can, be efficient and try to get as many people in once the vaccines do arrive. I think we have some testing occurring on an almost daily basis at the community center. We may then have to change that venue,
The venue, yes, sir.
to somewhere else as far as the testing, so we can set up, the community center once the vaccines, it'll be completely ready to go. So that's something that, we may have to do in the next few days.
Yes, I'm already in talks with Laura Garza as far as changing the venue so we can continue testing as well and not stop that, so we can actually have both at the same time, testing and vaccinating the community, but we have that in the works as well.
So I think it's important for the public, and there was a good response on Friday to call in, especially if you're within that age group or tier, to register either with DSHS, any of your providers, to make sure that you're on the list. Is that, I think, in the end, that's how the system will work, or we'll be calling those that have registered to be vaccinated. Whether it's on an alphabetical level or whoever called in first, those decisions we'll make, but we need to have a list. That way we kind of make an orderly attempt to vaccinate everyone instead of everyone showing up once the vaccine is here. It'll be very difficult for us.
Yes, sir. Yes, we're trying to avoid what happened in Laredo and using that as an experience for us. It was a pretty bad scene. I mean, I don't blame them for anything. I know we're trying to help, but we're trying to make it as fast and as comfortable as we can and as safely for our community. But we're still trying to tweak that out to figure out exactly how we're going to do it. But I'm more sure we'll announce it as soon as we start.
I think it's also important to mention, and we learned this at the meeting on Saturday, I didn't know this, that if you have tested positive for COVID,
Yes.
you have to wait 90 days
90 days.
before you can get the vaccine, because if not, that just increases the likelihood of bad reactions that you may have to the vaccine. So it's important for the public to know that if you have had COVID in the past, you must wait at least 90 days before getting that vaccine to avoid any complications.
That's a good thing you reminded me, Commissioner, because it's going to be very hard for us to keep up with who has been positive, within those 90 days.
And if somebody was positive and they didn't know they were positive, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to be very hard, but as far as those that do know that they were positive, let's just say 30 days, they need to wait at least 90 days, and that's going to fall on them to try and help us out. But not to worry that if they are positive within those 90 days and they will not get the vaccine the first month, they will get it after those 90 days. We assure them that. But it's very important that if they were positive within 90 days of the vaccination, for them not to get it because they are at higher risk for a severe reaction. That's what we
Chief,
told us.
I recommend that maybe next time for the planning, for the vaccine, whenever it's closer, that you might have a date that they come in, maybe you have an emergency meeting, Judge, right? Maybe so we can start the planning when you have the closer date to when we're getting the vaccine, so we
Yes,
all
of
can
course.
be on board.
Yes, of course.
So have an emergency
Absolutely.
meeting so we can plan the distribution, the administrative. and
Yes.
how to plan the working, where and how.
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Just let us know.
Yes, ma'am.
No point, no, sir.
Well, that's how I have right now, Judge.
I think one other thing that we discussed was staffing. I think there's been
Oh, yes.
I guess a reaching out to area nurses. We are gonna need some volunteers there to help in administering the vaccine, where they're taking down names and information.
For everything, we'll push something, we're gonna put something on Facebook as
Just put a
well.
flyer together to
We do
inform the public.
need a lot of help, because Mary's plan is to, vaccinate hundreds of people, one day. But for that, we will need a lot of help from the community as far as volunteers, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a nurse or a CNA.
Because there's a lot of information that's required.
There's a lot of parts.
Forms, a lot of forms, yes.
To play as far as giving these vaccines, taking information, signing them up, plus of course the nurses, CNAs, so we can administer the vaccines, but anybody that's willing to help, they can reach out and we will figure out where we'll place them and how we'll have them help us out during that event. So that is all.
Chip, did you talk to the two individuals that I gave you the name for? The RN and,
No, we haven't. I got that information and we will take them into consideration. I already have it, and I thank the commissioner for that. And if anybody else has anybody that knows any nurses that are willing to help, feel free to call me, any of the commissioners, and they will relay the information to me, and we'll get them on board and we'll figure out what role they'll take in this process.
Speaking with administrators of those medical centers, just for the public to know that there will be no charge for the vaccine. If you do have insurance, your insurance will be charged though, so, but there's no out-of-pocket, no copay, so it is free to the public.
It is free to the public. Also, before I forget, Judge and Commissioners, this allocation of vaccine that will be rolled out in our community will be strictly for people from Zapata County. I'm more sure it's going to ask for some proof of residency, but you do not have to be a U.S. citizen to get the vaccine, as long as you show proof of residency that you are a resident of Zapata County.
And of course, our winter Texans are residents of Zapata County, so our winter Texans certainly will be vaccinated.
And Judge and Commissioner, we also talked about, of course, designating a specific day or days for, of course, Valbuena, Peño, and our San Ignacio population, just in case they're not able to travel to Zapata. We are working on a plan for that as well. We can set up at the local community centers and be able to provide the vaccine distribution there as well on designated days.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That's all I got for right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Moving on with also the COVID testing, as of today, we've got 12,341 tests have been conducted. 1,077 have been confirmed positive. 10,996 have confirmed negative. We still have 268 that are pending their results. 857 have recovered, an estimate. And unfortunately, we've had 21 confirmed deaths that are COVID related, and it's certainly the last few months have been very dire and severe for our community. So I think, and speaking with those medical providers, that they stress to me that, and to pass it on to the public, that even after you receive a vaccine, you still have to follow the protocols. This vaccine is not a cure-all. I think we'll be, maybe by the end of the year, hopefully we don't have to wear masks, but for now, even if you receive a vaccine, you still have to take all your precautions, because it's certainly, you're not going to be completely immune from this virus. They want me to stress that to the public. Any other communications, commissioners? We'll move on to public comment. This section, one more thing on communication. The Congressman Cuellar will be here today speaking about vaccine availability. He'll be here at the courthouse at 1:15 for those individuals that want to reach out to him on any matters that's important to them. So he did advise me that he will be here at 1:15 here at the Rotunda. Welcome, let the public know that they're welcome to come by. On public comment, this section provides the opportunity to address the Commissioners Court on any item on the agenda. Any members of the public wish to address the court at this time? Not seeing one, so I'll move on to item number 6, approval of invoices. Commissioners, in your packets, we had invoices from January the 18th, 2020, December 18th, 2020 through January the 7th, 21, for a total of $826,846.12.
motion moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garza to approve the invoices as presented, seconded by Commissioner Mendoza. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 7 is approval of treasury report. Mr. Salinas, good morning. Good morning. Very nice. I could ask, yes, to the side of our screen, said, we had these monitors together.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. We went ahead and handed out the treasurer's report earlier this morning. You should have a copy in front of you. We've gotten some new technology, so Nelly's going to be helping me project the treasurer's report so the audience will get the opportunity to look at the figures as I'm speaking to the court. On the first page, I'm showing the investments that we have at our depository, which is Zapata National Bank. And those are the CDs, and they total at the very bottom, $8,862,488.05. And interest for the month of December was $2,595.49. And the year-to-date interest shown at the very bottom is $40,674.51, and that's the total interest earned since I've had the investments at the bank for those particular CDs that are on that page. When you flip your report, there's like 2 or 3 pages, and that's just a breakdown of every investment that I have at Zapata National Bank. And I usually keep those in the bank for 90 days. As the need arises, I am free to go to the bank and just transfer those funds out and use those funds without any penalties as for our contract. If you turn to page 6, those are the registry fiduciary accounts. And one that I would like to point out is the general fund. At the beginning of December, we had a balance of $1,009,034.78. We ran a total deposits of $2,355,10.53 for the month of December. And we expensed out of there from the general fund $2,024,104.33. After we reconcile the accounts, we have an ending balance at the end of December of $1,339,940.98. And the other checking account is interest and sinking, which had $942,586.70 at the beginning of the month. Then we ran deposits of $511,413, which is money that came in from the taxes collected that will be used to make the payments for our bonds. And at the end of the month, that totaled $1,453,999.70. The next checking account is the lateral road, have an ending balance of $44,083.47. Rent small deposit $69.51, ending balance of $44,152.98. Then you see the special road and bridge. We have the ending balance of $404.88.93. And again, we run a deposit of $217 to $48.78 of taxes, and leaving an ending balance of $621,337.71. The other one that I'm just going to read out is the water works as per the request of the Commissioner's Court. We have a beginning balance of $3,876,499. They ran deposits for the collections for the month of December of $417,843.52. We expenses shown there are the withdrawals that we made of $233,762.96, and we left an ending balance of $187,957.45. Those balances, we go in there and withdraw as we cover their expenses out of the general fund. So you see every month where I leave a small balance and then we go in there and double take that money out.
And that covers payroll and every expense that go through your treasurer's office.
Right.
Yes, yes.
So that we pull that money from the waterworks, because I'm covering all their expenditures, payroll, as you mentioned,
Right.
from
Yes.
our general fund. So that's why you see the movements. The deposits, what they collect for the month, and then what we expense out is what we go in there and pull out. At the bottom of the checking accounts, I won't read all of them, we had a beginning balance of $4,305,853.09, and the deposit for all those checking accounts was $5,894,943.46. After running all those expenses in the next column, we expensed out $4,899,337.45. And after we reconciled all those checking accounts for the month of December, we had an ending balance for all those checking accounts of $5,294,579.85. The next page, I will read all those checking accounts or other accounts held by the elected officials. At And those at the very bottom, I'll just point out that we had a beginning balance in the month of December of $6,264,106.18. There were deposits made of $1,357,530.34, and expensed out of there was $5,036,148.79. And after they were reconciled, we had an ending balance of $2,585,487.73 for those checking accounts on that list. The next page on my report are the total checks issued in the month of December, and those total out of the general operating account, $1,052,216.78. Year to date, since we just began our fiscal year, from October 1 through the end of December, we've issued checks totaling $3,587,362.03. The next page shows the approval of checks issued for the month of December, which is totaling all from the general fund, the $1,052,000 at the top, $1,679, and then other checks from the different funds, waterworks, special road and bridge, cemetery, and so forth. Those total $1,403,333.65. The next page is the electricity. As I'd like to point out, the month of December, you only show a very small amount, 466.91 in my report. That's because the electric bills get received at the auditor's office. After they review the billing, they process it to my office, and then we issue the payment. So right there, I'm waiting for them to submit the electric bill so we can submit the payment.
But it's pretty constant on that amount.
Yes, it's just that it did get processed
Right.
within the month of December.
I think it's good since we had that contract with
Yes.
Texas Powerful, the rates
Yes,
are
with the
very stable and, yeah.
And, we're paying a very small amount per kilowatt hour.
And it's a set rate that we can budget easily for, so
Right.
it's very helpful.
And I believe that our next contract, as we review, if we don't give them anything in writing, it's going to be a lower rate. So, we've been very, fortunate to be part of this pool that only counties, hospital districts, school districts belong to. They do all the procurement for us,
Right.
and, we don't have to be messing around with, getting all those different bids from different vendors
Yeah.
and analyzing all of that data. So,
It's very helpful.
that payment should be going out pretty soon. The waterwork bill came in at $12,326.32 for the water for the month of December. And then you have a running total at the bottom of $34,184.86 for the water bill for October, November, and December. The next page on the report is our royalty check that we get from Hillcorp Energy. And that comes in as a direct deposit every month. And for the month of December, we recorded a direct deposit of $4,820.38. And for this fiscal year, which has been October, November, December, 3 months, we've received $14,336.19 from the Hillcorp Energy for the gas wells that we have in the county. The next report is the rental. Unfortunately, you see all zeros across the matrix. Because we rent out our San Ignacio Civic Center, the Falcon Center, the Peño, the Pavilion, the Osvaldo Juanita Ramirez, the Community Center, the swimming pool. They all show zeros because we are not accredited.
Unfortunately, COVID has closed all those rooms.
So, this year we have not reported any rental income. For the next report is the county clerk deposits into Fund 10. They collected $2,633.25, and she deposited into Fund 15, $25. Our district clerk into Fund 10, $2,788, and into Fund 15, $348.25. And you go across to our sales tax. We received a deposit of $172,636.41, and that was the amount received from the sales tax that comes in as a direct deposit. The next page are the revenues collected from our landfill for the month of December. We reported $32,300. Our jail deposited $16,908.95. The jail telephone deposited $1,190.25. Jail bond fees reported, $525. Jail office fees, $250. And our EMS department, the fire department deposited $51,203.43 for the month of December.
Yeah, of course, our jail revenues, COVID has had a dramatic effect on our jail revenue. Even with Sheriff del Bosque, he's already made arrangements with the marshal's office, and we will be getting some prisoners soon. Is that correct, Sheriff?
Yes, Judge, as soon as Tuesday. We've worked out an agreement for the meantime to start housing prisoners, and they're gonna help us out with the first batch being negative.
So certainly those numbers will start going up. The revenues have been very significant until the pandemic hit, so that certainly affected our ability to house prisoners. But I think with all the protocols that we have in place that the sheriff is working on, I think we'll be able to get back to housing those prisoners for the U.S. Marshal's office.
Yes, thank you. The next page on the treasurer's report are the amounts collected by our JPs, and I'd like to point out that a lot of these amounts are being collected by the new software. They've got attorneys on hand that send out these collections for outstanding bills that never got collected in the past. So the deposit made for the month of December, JP number 1 was $12,209.20. JP number 2, $8,240.07. JP number 3 are $13,089.17. And JP number 4, $4,806.66. And as I said, these are not like current.
Well, those are monies that were outstanding, that were due to the county, and that program has been very valuable to the county. And we've been able to recoup a lot of fines that had gone uncollected for years.
Right. As you notice, like October, JP number 1, we had to process $45,000.
Yeah, I spoke with the judge and precinct 1. She said, I think the numbers are closer to 100,000, but 80,000 is very good for those 3 months. So,
Right.
yeah.
It's not, just so the public will know, that it's not current citations that were issued.
And of course, the importance of these funds, Judge, is that this goes to road and bridge. So it's very, very important because this allows us to be able to maintenance and service
Exactly.
throughout the county.
That is correct. I won't go over the last report, it's just a couple of pages. That's the overtime that was requested by Commissioner Sport. For y'all to review the overtime paid out to the waterworks and our wastewater department. So that's
Thank you, Mr. Salinas.
Motion to approve the treasurer's report is presented.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza to approve the treasurer's report as presented, seconded by Commissioner Garza. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Maybe we need to, when we speak, we turn it off when we're not speaking, is that? Oh, okay. For the public, we've installed a new system. We're trying to get the kinks out. It's working very well. So I think it was a necessary purchase upgrade. For one, because of COVID-19, we were unable to hold basically county court in person. So I think this will certainly allow us to continue to service the community. But so we're getting used to it. But I think it's a significant upgrade. Our system was 15 years old. It was analog, so it was totally outdated. So I think, and Mary Jane can attest to that as far as our county code. I know it was a nightmare for her every morning to try to record our meetings. But hopefully this is working fine. It's working a lot better. We'll move on to the item number 8 is approval of checks issued. And we had checks from 12/18/2020 through 1/7/2021. And the number is $826,846.12.
Motion move.
Motion by Commissioner Garza to approve. Second, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mendoza. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 9 is tax assessor collector department report. We have Ms. Mendoza, our tax collector. Good morning and happy New Year, and thank you for your service. And it's exciting to start as a tax collector.
Thank you very much, Judge. Good morning, Judge, Honorable Commissioners Court, and the public. I'd like to introduce my staff, first of all. Okay, I have coming in with 23 years of service. She will continue. Anita Juarez.
Yes.
I have San Juanita Barras. I'm sorry. San Juanita Sanchez Humphreys.
Yes.
She also comes in with about 19 years of experience in litigation with the attorneys.
Yes.
So that's a positive for us. Mary Lou Coronado with
Welcome.
16 years
16 years.
experience as well, and our new employee, Steve Macavazos, that is new, but is doing a tremendous job. So,
Welcome. Welcome, ladies. I know your office sees the most daily traffic from the public, so I know you have a lot of work and appreciate what you do. And for some of you, welcome back, and for others, get to join the Zapata County. Yeah.
Okay, and if we can go ahead and excuse Mary Lou and leave her, then we'll be going
Okay.
to the office.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay, going to the report, okay, for December. The general fund collection, we had a total of 354,718.10. Interest and sinking, we had 139,954.16. Farm and market, $7.70. Special road and bridge, 38,669.77. And then we had the legal attorney's fees, 4,652.78 for a total of collections of $538,002.51. Alcoholic beverage commission, we had $175. Hotel motel tax, we have $4,483.39. Copies, 240. Interest earned, 136.72 for a total of 5,035.11. Total collections was $543,037.62. Collection rate for 2020 is 68.38%, compared to last year's collection rate was 67.86. The hotel motel tax to date is $16,121.77.
Yeah, of course, our tourist industry has also suffered a hotel motel, but we still have I saw in the treasury report, a significant balance in the hotel motel fund, so we still have funds for those organizations that utilize those funds to bring our visitors in, but everybody suffered, including our tourist industry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner, we don't have any draft plans.
Yes, we actually have bath champs coming in on the 16th.
On the 16th?
Yes, so this month, yes. Judge, we should be receiving some of the funding also from the windmill projects, is that correct?
Yes,
Supposed to receive
that should be initial. We'll move on to reports and presentations. Item number 10 is to update the Commissioners Court on progress of a proposed enhancement to the Arroyo San Francisco overlook in partnership with TxDOT, the National Park Service, the River Piers Foundation, and El Camino Real de los Tejas National Trail. Requested by Mr. Christopher Rincon. Mr. Rincon, good to see you. Happy New Year.
Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Members of the public. This presentation is a conceptual site design. So it was a couple of years ago, in the summer, that Commissioner Elizondo and I sat down with the people from the National Trails and some representatives from TxDOT and began to talk about what could happen at this site. Every time that I bring visitors to come to get to know San Ignacio, Cedar Trevino, Libre Rancho, one of our favorite places to take them is this location. And it's such a kind of simple, no maintenance kind of thing. And although I have never seen I think you call it an MUA, a mutual use agreement.
Right.
At the meeting that we had when we started talking about this, the TxDOT people explained to us that it was an agreement between the county and them.
Well, it was an agreement between the original landowners and the state.
Okay.
And then the county did develop, I guess, a mutual agreement with the state as far as maintaining the roadside park as for future. But the actual land is privately owned, but the state has rights to it as long as it's being used as a park or a rest area.
Correct, yes, they did explain that as well. And
Yes,
so,
and as for us, we have been keeping up with the names here of the park. So we do our parts, like, the grass and the
yes.
but it's pretty good.
Yes, it's a beautiful area, sure.
So one of the things that came up was that if we could add some signage that the National Park Service would donate in kind, I would help them with the sort of the facts of the historical development of the settlement of San Ignacio and Zapata County, and it would highlight some of the other ranches and historic sites, including the museum. So that way, when visitors come, they've got a little bit more information, but it's not, again, it keeps it at that level of where it's going to be very low maintenance. The idea that we stressed to the National Park Service and to the National Trails people was that you really can't build any improvements there because there was always the question of, can we put a bathroom, can we put trash dumpsters, can we do this or that, retail space, restaurant space, and basically the consensus was to keep it as simple as possible. And I guess that was also part of the agreement with the original landowners.
That may be the case here.
One detail about the site, before I go on to the next slide, is that for those of you who've been there, you know that there's that little retaining wall, and you can see the path as it goes beyond the wall, and of course that will lead you down to the most incredible vistas of the Rio Grande. But that's outside of the boundaries of the
Yes, and
original.
I know, Chris, that we had talked to the owners of that land, and they gave us a verbal permission that we could, that they could use it. It's Mrs. Gutierrez's husband, remember, he used to be a commissioner judge, or JP, Mr. Gutierrez.
Part of the Gutierrez family, I'm not sure if exactly who the current family members are, but.
Yeah, I know that I spoke to them. Javier Gutierrez is one of them from San Ignacio. His
Yes.
wife used to be a commissioner in Laredo. I spoke to him and he gave us permission that, people could walk.
Oh.
But they're the landowners on that area.
So part of the proposed improvements would be, well, this is the existing site and what is there. We've got number 3 outlined in red as sort of the picnic area. Number 2 is the existing parking area, and of course the paving. And number 5 is that little area that leads you off into the vista. Moving on to the next slide. One of the things that's going to be very important is to put in an ADA compliant access from the parking area to the viewing area. So that is number 4. There's a little kind of like a path that makes a curve. Thank you. And then you can see the location where they want to put the proposed signage at number 2. Numbers 5 and 6, they're proposing some enhancements that we could add gravel and a little bit of landscaping elements to the viewing area. But again, we want to keep this as a very low cost and accessible. And for River Pierce Foundation, this would be the first time that we're actually involved in a public-private partnership like this. Even though we've worked with the National Park Service before, it was just a matter of them giving us money through a grant. And of course, there would be funds available for this as well through the Southwest Border Protection, I believe it's called Southwest Border Protection Program. And,
Chris, I think as the judge mentioned, that park area, the county and the public can use it while we keep up with it, and TechStop continues keeping up with it, but as soon as TechStop or the county says that we don't wanna keep up with it, it goes back to the original owners. So if anything, that area that you're looking at, that you wanna do that, if that's actually not part of TechStop, that is part of the landowners, maybe we could talk to the landowners and ask them if we could actually do these improvements, because that's actually not part of the TechStop. Like you said, where that bridge ends, only that part is,
But I think those improvements are within, the rock grading, right? Where you're
Yes.
gonna have the gravel and.
That's correct, yes. because
So all of that will still be under the protect park,
because I remember when we went over there, he said where that little ridges all around, that's
Yes.
only up to there is the.
So these improvements, Mr. Rincon, are before the retaining wall ends?
Correct.
and
So it will be within
basically
the-
adding some signage and then the parking. So I think there, and you said there may be monies available with the county, do you ask for some matching funds for that?
What you, normally, the way that these grants work through this program is that if there's any in-kind donation, that can count towards. the
Okay,
match.
well, certainly I think, I think it would be a very positive development for that area, and I think, we'd be interested in helping you with that. It is a beautiful area, and the pictures that I see that people take from there are amazing, so, yes. As far as the private land below, well, that's something that eventually maybe the landlord might decide to do something with it and close it off, but I think whatever we have there is certainly sufficient for the public to view that incredible area.
Judge, a couple of days ago, I went to the park and we saw like this, surveyor stake, I don't know if you know anything about it. I called TechStop and they don't know. It says SG number 1, it's like a stake, a surveyor stake.
I'm not sure what that should
Because I
be.
called TechStop, I called Fred and he said that he knew about that surveying stake, and I was telling Chris that he saw it. But it's right there in the middle, so, and it's a surveying stake.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that could be.
We have to look into that also, Chris, before we do
Yes.
anything. Make sure that they're not gonna develop anything else for that.
So the River Pierce Foundation is going to apply for the grant. It will basically be going toward the purchase of materials so that we can try to put together something like this, what the concept plan looks like. The funds won't be available until spring of 2022. So we have some time to actually plan out some other things around this and perhaps even find out what else is going on with the survey marks that are newly discovered.
There's been certainly, when we see survey stakes along the river, I mean, the wall construction comes around, comes to mind. I have received some calls from landowners, especially around the San Ignacio area, that there have been some surveyor crews in the area. I'm not sure what they're surveying, if it's part of any wall planning construction, but certainly that is a possibility that those surveys crews might be in there. I mean, that's all that area from Webb County to the San Ignacio area was part of the wall construction. And so I'm not sure. I haven't received any word from. We do have an item on the agenda. We may have a clearer picture when we visit with our attorney later in the meeting, and that may be the case. He might be able to expand on that.
Okay, well, this is pretty much the plan that we want to go ahead and put forward to the public. And I know that there's some various roles that the county can play in this as well. I feel like heritage tourism is something that we haven't really developed in this county. We've been going at a snail's pace in San Ignacio as well. Again, a lot of it is restricted by the amount of money that you can raise and be able to accommodate the public, and of course with the pandemic, also with the wall construction, that had affected our tourist numbers as well. So,
Commissioner Mendoza, I had told Chris that we have those blocks that you use there at the entrance where it says welcome to Zapata. There's a lot of those blocks. Have you seen them? There's a lot of them left over. You know where it says welcome to
Yes,
Zapata?
yes,
There's a
yes.
brick. There's a lot of those behind a yard here in San Ignacio. And I had told Chris that maybe, I was gonna ask to see if we could probably use them to, I guess to give it a better look, that little ridge that it has, maybe use those.
I mean, those could work for retaining walls or flower beds, stuff like that.
Oh, perfect. And that's exactly.
Very heavy.
That's the kind of thing that would count toward the match, the in-kind match.
It wouldn't be the sandstone look that it currently has, so that would be the only,
Oh, true.
yeah,
Different material.
yeah, it's a different material. I think there's plenty of sandstone rocks that can be gathered in the area that would complement the look that it currently has.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's all I've got for this morning. In the coming months, as we develop the budget behind this, I'd like to come back and update the county and
Very good.
perhaps firm up the roles that you all will play.
Thank you, Mr. Gon.
Thank
for
you.
everything. You do for San Ignacio, for really good foundation. Thank
The other landfill has a lot of those sandstones, that's
Yeah.
true. They have a lot of them at the landfill, Chris.
Oh, yes.
you. Yeah, I think that might
That's
be
a good
more
idea.
appropriate, yes.
Yeah, that would be a good idea to use those.
We will move on to item number 11, is a presentation on the utility U-training given to Zapata County Waterworks employees. Of course, this was a grant by Communities Unlimited. Mr. Vela here this morning? If not, I guess it's progressing. I haven't spoken to Mr. Trevino, but recently, as far as the grant and the training by this grant, have we been moving along? Have we trained any of our employees?
I know that it got slowed down because of COVID.
Okay.
I spoke to Mr. Vela, I believe it was in December, and he was requesting some information as far as prior participants and who would want to take advantage of this, so. But
So it's still open, that grant is still working, I guess. Okay, well, we'll wait and see. Certainly, it's no cost to the county, so we can afford to wait and see what materializes. We'll move on to the action items, Commissioners. We will deliberate and consider action on item number 12 is to appoint members to Zapata County Historical Commission. As you know, Commissioners, we need to reappoint commissioners on odd number of years. Of course, this year was, I speaking with the members, they weren't able to accomplish much of anything because of COVID. They're all willing to be reappointed. I think they're all good members.
Motion move.
Motion to Commissioner Gossett to reappoint all current members of the Historical Commission. Seconded by Commissioner Solis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 13 is to approve raising the state and county bond for the Zapata County Tax Assessor Collector to $64,000. Commissioner, I put this item on. Ms. Mendoza had reached out to me stating that she felt that the current bond for the office was too low, and given the rates that the state mandates, the $64,000.
Would be appropriate. Motion to approve this.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Elizondo. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion carried. Item number 14 is to approve a resolution of award for writing grant administration services for Zapata County 2021-2022 Texas CDBG Community Development Fund. Commissioners, as you know, we've got some projects lined up with the CDBG grant, and part of the process is selecting administrative services. We requested 3 applicants, and our committee scored the applicants and evaluated the applicants. We had GrantWorks, Esther and Associates, and Austin Colina Vargas as the 3 applicants. And for the Texas Community Development Block Grant, the firm that we recommended was Carl Esther and Associates.
Motion to approve this.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza to approve. Is there a second?
Did they already talk to you also, Austin?
If I may, Judge?
Yes.
My name is Austin Colina, and I want to say that it is an honor and a pleasure to be here today. I started working here in Zapata County over 25 years ago. It was one of the first communities that I worked in when I started doing urban planning and grant management. Of course, David Morales was the judge back then, completely different commissioner's court, a much more handsome an agreeable court nowadays.
Actually, they only got.
Maybe not, maybe not. But it occurred to me that the last project that I worked here in Zapata County was over 10 years ago. It was in 2010. We did a planning study, comprehensive planning study for the county.
Sure.
Now, I partnered with Carlos to do the application for a couple of park projects here late last year. The applications were in December, but those have not been approved, so technically, we're not working on those. But I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to propose our services for this. This and the next agenda item are selections for the Texas Community Development Block Grant programs, and the county typically participates in 2 funding categories. This one is community development. The next one will be for your Colonia program. This is the smaller of the 2 in terms of the funding, but we have proposals in for both of these. There is a scoring committee that convenes and they evaluate the proposals based on certain criteria. And I respect the scoring committee's recommendation. However, the council is under, or the Commissioners Court is under no obligation to go with the recommendations. The decision for these is the Commissioners Court and the Commissioners Court alone.
And we're aware of that.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure that they understood that that was the case. We are eager to reestablish a working relationship here in Zapata County. And I would like to ask that you all consider that favorably. I'm not one who has been traveling during the past year. As a matter of fact, I haven't even had a haircut in over 10 months. But I figured it was important enough for me to be here today. I'm asking for you guys to hire us for a job, basically. And I feel like that the owner of a company, if he's asking you to be hired for a job, should show up in person to ask. This is essentially a job interview, so if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any thing that you would like to ask me about us or the service we provide, that's why I'm here today.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Thank you.
There's no motion stand.
I've got a motion, is there a second? I'll second the motion to follow the recommendation of the committee to hire SRM Company. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against, same sign. I don't hear a, is there an against or for?
Against.
Against? Against? Against, okay, so this item will be brought back at a later date. Item number 15. 15?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, you're right.
15 is
Resolution.
to approve the resolution of award for grant writing, grant administration services for 2021. By the way, Commissioner, that was your project. You're going to delay the project in precinct 3 because of your vote. To approve resolution of award for grant writing, grant administration services for the 2021-2022 Zapata County, Texas CDBG Colonia Grant Fund. And the committee also, and I think very competent committee, worked tirelessly in evaluating the 3 proposals. And I think it's difficult for the court not to accept their recommendations, but that was the case. And in this application, the committee recommends Grant Works be awarded the contract. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, Judge, that we go with the committee's recommendation.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza to award the Colonia application to Grant Works. Is there a second?
So Judge, if we approve number 16, that means that number 15, what is that one?
They're different projects.
There are different projects, Commissioner. This one's in your precinct, Commissioner, the Colonia.
The one that they're already working,
No,
you've
no.
already working
No.
on this?
No.
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 Nobody's working on this one. We just selected the project that was gonna be in your precinct.
Well, I don't want to be unfair, so I don't know, we want to go back to number 15, because I don't want to, I mean, I'm
Oh,
gonna.
we are on 15.
We're on 15.
Oh, I thought we were.
We're selecting an administrator for the 15.
That's for you.
The committee recommended Grant Works. Are
Okay.
you against Grant Works?
No.
Okay, so I've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Commissioner Elizondo. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Commissioner Garza is opposed. Commissioner Solis?
Post.
Opposed. So we got 3-2, motion passes. So, Mr. Grant Works, I think, I see Mr. Zambrano in the audience. You've been awarded the administration services for the Colonia project. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Judge and Commissioner.
Well, this one's the one that we had already been working with, right?
I'm sorry, ma'am?
This is the one that we've been working.
No, ma'am, this is,
No.
we're just selecting, we selected the project, Commissioner.
Which one's the one that we're working, the one that I turned in some applications for the ones over there in San Ignacio? Is it this one? Or no?
I don't know what you're talking about, Commissioner, but no. This is, we're selecting the administrator, for, the project was selected in your precinct. And we go through the process of selecting an administrator now, and this is what we're doing.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Mr. Zambrano. Item number 16 is to approve the scheduling of a public hearing for the 2021-2022 Texas CDBG application on January 25th, 2021 at 5:15. Need a motion to approve that hearing?
Motion to approve, Judge.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You opposed for the hearing, Mr. Solis?
No,
You're not opposed?
I'm not opposed.
You're in favor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he's a yes. All those in favor say yes, so we're all in
Yes.
agreement on the hearing?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I said
Okay,
aye.
good. Then the motion passes. Item number 17 is to review and consider modifying the current Zapata County cemetery policies and procedures. Commissioner Mendoza?
I think this was brought back by default because we tabled it at the last meeting. I know Mr. Salinas is gonna be working on getting the figures. You need more time, Mr. Salinas?
Yes.
Motion to table, Judge.
Motion to table, is there a
Second.
second? Second by Commissioner Garza, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion table. Item number 18 is to approve the retirement of Mr. Ruben Sanchez, crew leader 15-013, slot number 2, effective January the 4th, 2021. Commissioner Solis, you made the motion,
Yes, sir, I make the
you
motion.
want to accept his resignation?
Yes, I make the motion.
I'll second,
Commissioner
Judge.
Solis makes a motion, second by Commissioner Mendoza.
Judge, how many years, Mr. Sanchez was working with the county?
Mr. Solis, you know that?
I have no idea how
I
many years he
believe it
was
was
working.
30-some years.
It was 30 plus years.
Okay,
We'll go ahead and order a plaque for him and have a presentation.
that'd be good. Motion, Mr. Sanchez was worked, many years,
Yeah.
certainly a very capable crew leader. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 19 is to approve the transfer of Armando del Bosque, CDL driver 15/013, slot number 3, at $9.50 an hour, to crew leader 15-013, slot number 2, at $14.57 an hour, effective January the 5th, 2021.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Garza. Any discussion? Did you have the most tenure on the crew?
Is that what?
The tenure on your crew? Like that? No, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 20 is to approve the hire of Jose A. Martinez as labor/maintenance at $9.50 an hour, effective January the 5th, 2021.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Garza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 21 is to approve a quote of $2,694.30 for the purchase of uniforms for Precinct 3.
Commissioner, is this coming out of your budget?
It's coming out of my budget.
Motion
yes,
to
sir.
approve, Judge.
Second.
And uniforms, what do we mean by uniforms?
Shirts and boots for the,
Shirts and
for
boots?
the workers.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's fine. I think steel toe boots.
Steel toe boots, work boots, yes, sir.
Got motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Garza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 22 is to approve the new general order for the Texas Assessor Collection departmental hires. And
Ms. Mendoza?
I think motion by Commissioner Elizondo to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Solis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I would like to ask, is there a change, Ms. Mendoza, in the salaries?
Everybody wants, because they're all new.
No, but,
No,
what
but,
I'm saying is there a
change it.
change on, basically, did you increase your budget from what was originally budgeted by the board?
It's not, I'm way too low with my budget.
Well, because it changed from 168,675 71.60 to 169.871, 121.
Exactly. Okay,
That's a change on your budget.
Yeah, that's a change of $1,000.
Okay, where's that money coming from?
Okay, the money is going to my chief deputy, Ana Juarez. It will go till the end of the year.
Yeah, but what I mean, where that money's coming from?
It's in the budget. This is the salaries, this is the total salaries budget, okay? I have had no employee, there was no employee as a supervisor for this cycle, this budget cycle.
Mr. Gonzalez, can you approach the podium, please?
Well, we can look at the general order, Commissioner.
Well, I don't have it with me.
Well,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
looking for it, and certainly we can clarify if that, the monies are there or not.
I did notice that it was a $1,000 difference, more or less, higher on the bottom line, so, I guess what Mr. Garza's want to know is where is it coming from? Where are you pulling that money from?
So
the
I
bottom
think in
line
the
says-
general fund, with the budget that was approved was 168,671.60, Ms. Mendoza. So there is a difference of 1,000, so we
$1,000.
would be increasing your, I guess, your general order budget by $1,000.
Okay,
Normally, I would require Commissioner's Court approval. I think we could do it if we want to, but,
Or go back and amend the budget.
okay, but you see, the budget is not, there's $7,600 in that slot that's left over.
From this,
From this here?
from the
Yes.
budget starting in October?
Yes.
Well, that may be
slot
the
did
case.
Did not have an employee.
Oh, no, what, okay.
You're basically
What-
saying that the amounts were never used, so you have an extra money to make up the difference.
Exactly.
okay,
Which is
that may be
different.
the case.
Which that's different, that's a different
It's
scenario.
still different, I mean, I have nothing against, rewarding your employees or anything like that. I do have a problem with changing the budgeted amount, especially after a budget year has started, because I think we're gonna open up a can of worms here. We're gonna have other department heads, they're gonna come forward and say, well, I wanna do the same thing for my employees. And, you know, it's gonna get a little bit out of control.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, well, I mean, that's
Well,
fine, I mean, I can bring it up.
actually, Ms. Mendoza, it was initially for the 2020 budget, you
Mhm.
did have 171,000,
Mhm.
but the request for the 2021 budget was less, it was 168. So
Mhm.
you don't have those additional funds
No.
available.
Okay.
You can try to request them, and,
In the next budget?
Yes, I definitely, I mean, that was my way of trying to
okay.
get,
No, and I understand, I mean.
approve it, and then,
Yeah.
of course, upon your request, or what you suggested, that's what I tried to do, but of course, I did not remove it from, I could have taken it off from here, and I can't take it off from,
Yes.
my part-time.
Deputy.
Yes, Ms. Mendoza and I, we did speak last week, and, you know, she did mention her plans to me, and I did recommend that she possibly consider reducing one of her salaries and to move that difference if she wanted to compensate this particular employee a little bit more. But to add to the actual total bottom line, I don't think is a good practice for us to start doing,
Okay.
especially,
So we do have a motion and a second, so I guess we can vote on that
Mhm.
to approve. All those in favor? Say aye. We got two, who was the motion, Mr. Solis?
No.
Elizondo and Solis for the motion.
Elizondo and Mr. Solis.
So y'all two are in favor of increasing it by 1,000?
Well, she's saying right now, Judge, that she can take it from slot number 6 to $1,000, where the number at the bottom stays the same.
Okay, well,
well, that's different. I
She
mean,
can, yeah, she can take from slot 6, she can take the $1,000 and some dollars, add it to slot 2, and then the bottom number stays the same. which
yes,
is what
and
we
that
want.
had been my recommendation.
So y'all agree to that
My
motion?
remains.
Okay, we got a motion and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You again?
I'm okay.
Again, Commissioner Mendoza again. Okay.
Garza.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so it passes. So you'll just remove $1,000 from slot 6 and add it to
Yes,
slot 2?
Two lots.
Okay.
Lots, yes.
thank you, Ms. Mendoza.
Thank you.
There was, Elizondo Solis on that one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Item number 23 is to hire Luis Lopez Jr. at slot number 21, firefighter /EMT D, $11.35 an hour, requested by Mr. Arriaga, Chief Arriaga.
Motion moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Garza. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And Mr. Lopez is a local, chief?
Yeah.
Item number 24 is to transfer Gabriela I. Gonzalez from slot 21, slot 14, as Lieutenant Firefighter EMT-B at $13.80 an hour.
Motion moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Mendoza. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Item number 25 is to request a transfer of $25,000 from the tobacco fund to medical supplies, 10-543-460.
We have, funds available, Mr.
Yeah, there's
President?
over $200,000.
Motion moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Garza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Chief.
Thank you. I
Item
have to
number-
say a word, chief.
Item number 26 is to approve the fiscal year 2019 single audit. And I see our accountants, our independent accountants are here. Good morning, Mr. Juan Jose.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
We're here to present the audit for Zapata County. We did the audit for the year ended September 30th, 2019. And I would like to point on the report, on page number 1 on our report. It is our, in that page, I'm sorry, pretty much what it states is that we're presenting the audit, what is management responsibility for the audit,
Yes.
what is our responsibility for the audit, but mainly the most important thing, it's our opinion on the financial statements.
Okay.
And I'm pleased to say that we have issued an unqualified clean opinion. That is the best opinion that a CPA firm can provide to an entity.
That's very good.
Meaning that, the public can rely on these financial statements. And then the report goes further saying, other information that is being presented in relation to the financial statements. Also, we are reporting also in relation to government auditing standards. And in that one, pretty much, it's another report. That one is located at the very end of the report, which is on page number 67. As part of the audit, we are required to evaluate the internal controls of the county. And then if we encounter any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses, we need to present them on this report.
Okay.
And that as well, we did not encounter any of those either significant deficiencies or material weaknesses that made it to this level of the report. So that's also a good thing in relation, in regards to the county. There's a third report that we issue, which is right after that one on page number 69, and that one is in relation to the single audit. As well as the other report, this is, as part of the audit, we audit, what is called single audit, we audit your major programs, grants. And as well, we are required to say if we encounter any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in relation to those programs. And also, I'm pleased to say that we did not encounter any of those. Those are the reports that we present. My partner, Mr. Canales, is going to present some of the figures that are presented on these financial statements.
Thank you, Mr. Canales.
Good morning.
Good morning, Clerk. Judge, good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Like my partner was mentioning, I want to ask you to turn your attention to page number 12. That is the statement of net position. That statement is going to show the total assets of the county, 110 million, and the liabilities of 42 million. More importantly, the difference, which I wanted to point out to you, is the net assets of 71 million. That's a very good, very solid number of net assets. More importantly, unrestricted, which are available without any restriction, the number is 14 million for the county as a whole. On the following page is where we show the income and expenses for the government as a whole, for the county as a whole. And there's a number that I wanted to point out to you that is of more significance. And it's, just to summarize the point that we're trying to make here, is the fourth item from the bottom. It reads changes in net assets. The column all the way to the right, which is the total, the combination column, changes in net assets were $1,213,820, which means that overall the county had $1.2 million more of revenue than of expenses.
Right.
Which is
Our budget is
a very positive figure. Now, I wanted to ask you to turn the page to 52 and briefly point out to you that this page right here is the beginning of the general budget and the budgeted amounts versus what was actually spent or what was actually brought in revenue. That's the first page of the statement that shows the budget. But on the last page is on page 59. This is a pretty extensive report. So I wanted to show you the beginning of it. More importantly, on the end, which is on page 59, that's in the show us of what you budgeted for the year, how you all at the end came out. And so if you look up at the middle of the page 59, where it says excess, parentheses, efficiency of revenues over expenditures. On the third column, that number $363,028, that's for the general fund, the biggest fund of the county. That number is saying that that's how much revenue came in more than the expenses went up. So again, that's a very positive figure to look at that shows the management, the fiscal responsibility of the county. And just to finalize, at the bottom of that column, the third column, you see that the fund balance for the general fund is $12,986,981.
Yes.
That number you'll see again on this last page that I want you to look at. It's going to be on page 14, so I'm going to ask you to come back to the beginning of the report. Page 14, the first column you see there, it says general fund. On page 14, that's governmental fund. At the bottom, total fund balance is 12 million. It's the same number, 12,986,981. That's the fund balance for the general fund, of which 7,152,000 are unassigned and available for the operation of the county. So again, that's a very positive number.
And that's a rainy day fund that we, unfortunately. And, yes. So I think the overall is that we increased our fund balance by $400,000, $600,000.
Right, yes, the general fund balance, that's correct.
Okay.
And
can you identify where those increases in revenues came?
yeah, so
Because our tax collections were down somewhat. I think it might have come in from.
sales tax was a positive number.
The sales tax?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can see that on page 52. So the property taxes were down, so that's the first item on page 52, on the revenues, taxes, current property taxes. The budget was 6.3 million, the actual was 5.9, so the negative variance, negative 395. But then there's the vacant property taxes that were positive, penalties and interest on taxes were positive, sales tax were positive. So that made up for the difference.
Okay. The sales tax kind of covered the deficit, yes.
Yes.
And it continues to really be impressive for Zapata people. There's still money flowing through our community. So, there's certainly been a benefit when we adopted that sales tax. And, well, the public voted on making that a reality. We haven't been charging sales tax for many years, but certainly in the very difficult times, it has been somewhat a stopgap for it. Very good. Oh, mine's not working, but we, of course, we're almost, we're in 2021. This was 2019. 2020, a timeline on that. I know it's been difficult with COVID as far as the timeline. Most of the funding agencies request that we have these audits by latest of May. And June, I think, would probably be the latest, and then we're delinquent. Is there any possibility of achieving that goal of trying to get this budget independent audit in time for this coming year? Or how far along are we? I know it's been a difficult time for everyone, and the information. How can we improve the information to your office so we don't get those reminders from the state agencies or those funding agencies that our audits are not, on time?
The main thing for us, so we can start the audit, is that the county has to be ready for the audit. By that, what I mean is, have the information. Your consultant,
okay,
plays an important role on that, and together with the county auditor in making that everything is reconciled and ready for us to come in and start doing the audit. If definitely for us, there's no issue. If we can have the information ready, let's say.
And that checklist has already been determined by prior years, so.
Yeah, the county already knows the information that we require. So as soon as that information is ready, we can plan it.
Okay.
And definitely we can have it on time.
All right, we will work on that. So it's basically on our end that we're not providing the information on time.
Yeah, well, this year, like you mentioned, it was a different thing. It was like everybody, we had to close our office for a month and a half, and we had 2 infections. We're a small firm, and even though we have, so it just.
We appreciate what you do for us. There's not many firms that are for a small county to find an auditing firm, so we totally appreciate. And we asked you on short notice a few years ago, and then you were gracious enough to accept to take us on as your client. So we definitely want to continue that relationship. So I'm just trying to see how we can avoid being on the state or the funding not to do well is. I mean, because we do get on that list, and then it starts affecting our grant applications.
Or do you have it ready on time?
No, definitely for us, if you have the information ready, we definitely can plan it and have it,
I know, it's your staff works tirelessly. What do you need? What at this time that?
All we need is for them to request whatever they need. I mean, I don't think that it's my office that should be.
So the auditor should be completely involved?
Yeah, I mean.
No, this is, how can I explain? Like for example, in your instance, yes, the bank reconciliations, those things, they need to be done. But it's not only that, there's another step, which is making sure that all the accounts are in order.
Okay.
And your consultant plays an important role in that.
Yes.
So, because there's no point for us to come in and if, things are not where they're supposed to be, it's just gonna.
We'll be working on something else.
Yeah, it's gonna complicate things a lot. So once everything is, in this, of course, there's gonna be recommendations from us, but once everything is in its right, place, that's when, we get the call, you know what, it's ready, and then we can start moving.
There's no point, you know, for us or for you or for the county to do it early, and even though if things are not in, you know, I guess the word I'm trying to, you know, where it's supposed to be, you know, the figures and everything has been reviewed, you know, before by someone, you know, then that has to be done first before we can.
I think it's important for you to maintain a close relationship with our county auditor, and please let us know, make us aware of any shortcomings, that way we can address them and prevent them from happening.
And I wish the consultant would be here to, tell us where he has run into problems.
Exactly.
Getting, you know, figures from other departments, from other grants that are, you know, administered by other people, not the treasurer's office.
Right.
So I'll make that very clear.
Right.
So if our external consultant is having trouble getting those figures to them, well, it's beyond my control.
Well, that's when we need to know exactly where we need to target, tell them, hey,
What
you need to start
departments
doing this.
are, you know, delaying on the submission of information?
Yeah, so.
Because it's just a domino effect, you know, I mean, one drops the ball and it just kind of
Everything
messes
is
it up
going
for
to
everybody
go
else. So we need to make sure that, we need to make sure that the departments are submitting the information on time. So that, you know, this is it should be a smooth process, basically, at this point. 'Cause we've been working with y'all for how many years already? 4 years. So, I mean, y'all should have already highlighted the areas where we're falling short. We should have already corrected those procedures and processes. And we should already be working with a smooth process.
And whatever you need, I mean, make it aware to the judge, he'll make me aware of it, or send it directly to me. I mean, if it's only going to the consultant, well, that's leaving us out of the loophole.
So, and Mr. Salinas is, you know, he's touching on an excellent point. We do rely on the consultant. So, I mean, it would be, if we would just go directly, then are we just not gonna consider consultant? I mean, that's something that.
No, I'm not saying leave them out of the loophole, but
Right,
include.
So to make it efficient, to make, like my partner is saying, to make the process efficient, that's the way it should work. You know, the consultant provides us the information, all encompassing, because it's, you know, he knows the process, he knows what's required, the auditor knows what's required.
And that's why we rely on him.
Right, so that's what I think, that's what we're saying, that, you know, and also because of the nature of the pandemic, it's.
Yeah, this year was certainly
right. So, but I think that's what
It'll have an asterisk on it,
Right.
so I mean, but we do, the state agencies, the funding agencies, they don't really.
I mean, bottom line,
They want those audits, and, so we appreciate it, we got it, I think it was good news. I think we've been holding the line during these difficult times, so.
we finished better than what we thought we were gonna finish as far as
Yes.
the bottom line. So,
And we certainly had some very intense discussions as to how we're gonna spend some money, the taxpayer money, but I'm glad we're having those discussions and we're holding a tight, and we're being fiscally responsible. I think that's what, we're here for. So, thank you for your report. We'll take it. It's a good report, and thank you so much for your help. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge, I'll make a motion that we approve the audit for fiscal year 2019 as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza to approve the independent audit, second by Commissioner Garza. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Item number,
Number 27.
27, to approve the hire of a veteran service officer for Zapata County. Commissioners, as you know, we have been without a veteran service officer for some time now, and we've been trying to get qualified applicants that help our veterans out. I think we may have one, so, Ms. Nelly, has a presentation for us?
Yes, good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I received an application for a veteran service officer. He is I believe, from what I've seen in what he turned into me, he's a very good applicant.
Yes.
Adolfo Gonzalez, he has been a past commissioner for Zapata County.
Of course.
But his background in the military and the Army branch.
His entire family, yes. So I
So I
think,
believe that's
he's here, Mr. Gonzalez, would you like to approach?
Sure, Judge.
I believe he would be a great asset to our county.
Getting flashbacks, Mr. Gonzalez?
I
I was a little bit offended when they said that it's a much, more handsome. That's all right, that's all right.
I stood up for you.
But no, originally I was asking around who was a veteran service officer, because since probably like 2006, I've been assisting veterans as far as getting their veterans disability payments and helping them out with retirement. And I know sometimes I help some people from Zapata, and I just wanted to, offer my services to whoever was involved. I come to find out, that we had a person that was ill, that couldn't serve in Zapata County, didn't have anybody. So I wanted to step up to the plate and offer my services. And not only for the veterans, for Commissioners Court, so that way you have somebody that you can go to and be able to help out these veterans. And something that a lot of counties don't look into is the monies that brings into the community indirectly, as far as there's a lot of veterans out there who are to themselves, they don't talk to a lot of people. And these are benefits that they've earned. And so these are monies that can come in indirectly to the community. So,
I think it's important to have somebody active, Mr. Gonzalez, such as yourself. I think we've lost out on a lot of funding opportunities in the past. So Judge, I'll make a motion that we hire Mr. Gonzalez to serve as our veteran service officer.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Elizondo. Any discussion? We want to thank you for, like I said, stepping out, and we appreciate your help. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. The pay is not great, but.
No, Judge, and as a matter of fact, I want to encourage you all to please make use of me. I am only a phone call away, an email away. Part of my work ethics has always been to be there for people. So I want you guys to make use of me. That's how I thrive of helping others. So please.
Mr. Gonzalez, I have a question for you. Do you reside here in Zapata every day?
Yes. I'm here in Zapata at least 3 to 4 days out of the week. Sometimes longer, depending. But I'm always here, or I can be in Austin sometimes, which is also important because sometimes we might need anything from Austin that I can assist.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm here to help.
Very
Mr.
good.
Gonzalez, what would be great, I know maybe that's been too much, is maybe trying to get somebody or doctor to come in and do some better visits here in Zapata. That would be great.
And that's something that we could look into, as you're talking about for the.
For better, like whenever they need to go to the doctor, maybe have somebody coming to Zapata maybe once a month or once a week, to where they don't have to drive out of town and go.
We used to have, I know we had qualified for a grant some years back. Congressman Guerra had helped us secure transportation for our veterans officers. We had gotten a van, a brand new van of water.
Yes.
For whatever reason, we had to send that back. But, programs like that can better, enhance the lives of our veterans are important. So whatever you can do for us to bring some of those services back would be greatly appreciated.
Yes, for sure. Great, Judge, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Gonzalez. Thank you.
Item number 28, Commissioners, is to approve the extension for Families First Corona Relief Act for county employees affected by COVID-19. Ms. Trevino, yes,
I brought this item back for approval just because of the fact that we are continuing with the COVID-19 and it has been affecting a lot of our employees. I believe we're in the double digits as far as employees who have been.
And this is just basically an extension of the previous policy we had already adopted,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
I'll make a
Motion
motion
approved.
that we approve.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Garza. Yes, I did receive a call yesterday from Ms. De Los Santos, who supervises the food pantry. One of the employees there tested positive, so the food pantry will be closed for a few days until I guess the rest of the staff can be tested and make sure they're okay.
And we have one in the county shop too, Judge.
The guidelines
I
and
have one.
requirements to
And
qualify
she has
for
another
relief
one.
will remain the same. I'm gonna follow the same guidelines as
Okay.
what was previously.
All right, although we voted on it already, yes?
Mhm.
Okay, we'll move on to 29, is to approve the sale of the previous meter stock, which was replaced with the new electronic meters. Mr. Trevino, you've got a lot of brass.
Good morning, Judge.
What are they, copper or brass?
Copper.
Brass,
Yeah, brass, yeah.
How many millions are we getting for the old meters?
How many, what, I'm sorry?
Million.
Millions? About 2.7.
Wishful thinking.
Just kidding. So as you all know, we.
I know the sheriff is having an auction, next month, so that might, before we start voting on something, so you should talk to the sheriff about including them in his auction.
We can definitely do that.
Is this a company you're working with, or?
This is a company that, I'm sorry, I'd be.
Also, Judge, if any of the commissioners or any of the officers here in the county need help and to sell the vehicles in our auction, we'll be glad to go.
Yes.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yeah, the sheriff had mentioned that to me, came to mind, and so, legally, Counselor, good morning, Counselor, I didn't hear you, when you walked in, I said good morning, but.
Oh, Judge, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I was
Yeah,
trying to find the spot that I could find it social.
The legality of selling meters, I guess,
Judge, we would, if it's a county asset that is outlasted its usefulness to us, then we can sell it so long as it has monetary, or I'm sorry, if it's not, if it's the value, salvage value is something that is substantial or can be substantial,
Yeah.
then we have an obligation to try and
but
sell it.
can we sell it to one vendor or one individual?
Well, Judge, we would probably have to put it up for auction unless.
I think auction would be the way to go, I think.
We would have to go up for auction unless that particular vendor is one that's been previously approved
By
by
the
the
state.
state.
Yeah, okay, so that's a possibility.
This vendor approached me, or approached us, since last year, since right after we finished the meter exchange program. I guess he got wind that we had all these meters, and constantly calling, except of course during COVID, he kind of stopped. And then he recontacted me in December, and he upped his price, because the price was $2.25 per meter, and then he said, hey, listen, I'm willing to, $2.50 per meter. So what I did was I had staff go, and we actually tore one apart. We actually unbolted, took we gutted out everything. We weighed this brass, and it comes out to 2 pounds, 5 ounces.
Okay.
So when we actually, we called up the company in Laredo, see how much that they paid, it's $1.40 per pound. Basically, but of course we have to do the work and do all the stuff. We'd be looking at about $3.24 per piece.
So have you
this
tried
was-
countering with this company? Have you tried making a counter offer with this company?
No, sir.
At that amount?
No, I can't.
I think we did try to help out our sister shores.
We did,
some.
yes, sir. We did.
So they're still using the older type meters, and I think that's something that we could help out, those.
But they already got what they needed, Sister Shores?
They had said that they needed a couple hundred. I was contacted, and she requested, Cindy had requested 100. So we got 100 investments, and we got them ready, and the crews came and picked them
So
up.
those have already been deducted from this?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
So we do have a few more that are, pretty good condition that we'd be able to clean up, and I'd say donate and help the neighbors, of course, because I know that some of their equipment is in pretty bad shape.
Are you aware of this company working with any other municipalities, Mr. Trevino?
I don't have much information, and I tried to contact the guy again last week, and just didn't email, so I don't have too much.
Sheriff, your auction will be when, Sheriff?
It would be by the first week of March.
So
By the-
month,
by the
let's
time
just
we put everything in the paper, all the lists accordingly with the state guidelines.
let's go that route, Ralph.
Perfect.
If he wants to bid at that auction with the sheriff,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the
Entonces,
way
I'll
to
make a
go.
motion to table it.
Okay. All right, thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion to table.
Motion to table, seconded by, motion tabled by Commissioner Garza, seconded by Commissioner Mendoza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion tabled. Item number 30 is to review and approve La Legion subdivision plan. That's not La Legion, right?
No, the legion's right. You said it perfect. Judge, may I approach?
Yeah. Where is that?
That's the one that I had brought in a preliminary.
Oh, yes,
I had brought a preliminary for your consideration and review.
Yes.
I'm bringing in a final for your consideration and review, and
There's been a little bit of movement there, Mr. Gonzalez, already with the period.
there has been, yes, some movement.
It looks really nice.
Sure.
Okay.
So,
building commissioners. On this one, it's,
You have an extra copy, Mr. Gonzalez?
yes, I have another copy.
You can put it on the screen.
Oh, okay, cool. Yes. There you go.
Very nice.
We gotta use the
We
equipment.
have a screen.
We gotta-
That's
We're enjoying the 21st century.
I was like, is there other cameras? I mean, that's pretty nice. Yes, that's perfect. Okay, so I'll just then look at it from the screen up there. This one is the one north of Zapata, almost across from where Ventas is, or Key Energy.
Right.
And it's across the street from there. We're proposing to put in 10 lots. These are 5-acre lots. So it will have a caliche road that will be installed by the owner. They will also be putting in a water service and electrical service. The lot will be serviced by septic tanks. I put a note on there, on note number 5, Zapata County shall not be responsible for on-site septic on individual lots. So that way, and then also that the developer is responsible for, and all, like it's not with a road, so it's a caliche road. We do that, we're on
We get accepted.
we're over 5 acres, so we're on where we need to be. We did install a 15-foot easement on the front of the properties along the highway, just in case in the future we needed to put in like some other utilities or something. It's already in there. We also included a 25-foot building setback. So any buildings that get constructed, we won't construct within 25 feet of the property line to the front. That way it gives enough space for any resident that's there to be able to drive out and be able to see both ways without a building or some obstruction blocking the way of them coming out. We included a drainage easement. It's a 20-foot drainage easement going along that path there on lots number 9 and then 7. I guess the ones that are on the back, those 3 that are on the back. So that includes for drainage. That's pretty much what we have at this time. They're they already cleared out the property, they already leveled it out, and so they're making it available for. I wanted to make sure that they did everything right the way it needed to be. So we're presenting it for final approval, and they're including some restrictions on the subdivision. The restrictions will be, have like what they can or can't do within the property itself. So I think that would help for, keep the subdivision in a certain way. That way, they will have residential. They will allow for commercial in the front, but I think they're also requesting that they put a residence within the property. That way, all the lots will be nicely maintained.
Have any of them been sold, Mr. Gonzalez?
Not yet, we need to get them recorded, but there's been quite a bit of interest. There's been a lot of interest on the property, so I think that there's a lot of interest in at least, I would say at least half of them, maybe a little bit more than half of them. So they do have a price range. I think they're like around, the ones that were in the front, they were like around 85. And then the ones towards the back, some of them were like at 80 or 85, somewhere around there.
For 5 acres?
Yes, sir.
It's not bad.
That's not bad. I think that's why there's a lot of interest.
Yes.
And so they've been getting quite a bit of interest, and it's not a bad price on that.
Judge, I'll make a motion that we approve the subdivision plat as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Garza.
Is there any dedications, Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, thank you.
Make the court aware of that they're
this-
accepting responsibility on?
There are dedications. What we are dedicating is the right-of-way. It's a 50-foot right-of-way, which conforms to the county's requirements. They're also going to put in a 6-inch caliche road, 30-foot wide, that will also be dedicated to the county. And they're installing a 2-inch line from the front of the property all the way to the back. And they'll make taps to all of the properties. They'll have already a service tap. Obviously, they can't put the meter until the meter gets requested by the owner, like whoever buys it, because that needs to be under the name of whoever's going to be paying the bill. So, but they will have a tap to the main line already ready, so it's just going to be a matter of installing the meter. But yeah, thank you. There is a dedication on that.
So this would be a colonia where, the county precinct 2 employees would go in and pick up or do draft or stuff like that. Every single, same services that they have theirs on.
Yes,
the-
because
this
they're-
Colonia
they're
will have
dedicated
it.
The dedication for the easement would essentially become potentially a county road, so,
Yes.
it would now, that's why the court has to formally accept the dedication, because it now becomes our responsibility as well.
But
So-
I think there, isn't this in the highway, how could it be the county, I know it's a county easement, but.
Well, you would drive into, what you
Yeah,
drive
but
into
the
the subdivision
entrance,
would be.
the entrance.
Well-
Where it's close to the highway, it's a highway.
Yes, so on the one where you have the main road, which is Ramirez Road,
We're accepting it,
yes, and there, they would drive in through there?
yeah, well, you are responsible that way.
I want to make sure I'm responsible.
How
No,
many
yes,
miles?
it will be like any subdivision, any other subdivision in the community. We are planning it as a subdivision, so this will not be considered a colonia, and they are providing, I guess, the utilities. So this will be, like if you would go here in the town site, and in terms of being able to drive into there, the main road will have a 50-foot access and a cul-de-sac at the end. So they'll be able to drive in there and then make the turnaround at the cul-de-sac. And then the other ones, those, I guess which is lot number 2, lot number 9 and 8, those, I guess the owners will put in an entrance into their property, where sometimes they'll make a lot of the owners, they end up making like a cutout, so that if they're coming in with a long truck or Suburban or something, they don't end up sticking out into the property. They end up coming in and they can get down and open the gate, and then, so
I
that's.
think, as this subdivision populates, we'll probably get requests for paving that road eventually.
That may come down the line, but right now, since it's a 5-acre tract, they are proposing it as a caliche road, to keep the cost and pass those savings on to the residents that will be purchasing that. They're like little ranchettes, but they'll have the electricity and water available. And they'll all be serviced by septic tanks on each individual lot. Now there is also consideration for drainage. So most of it's going to be draining on that.
We do have the infrastructure in place there, Mr. Gonzalez, for water?
He's going to have to extend it in
Okay.
at his cost.
Okay.
Yes,
They're already
and,
working on that.
yeah, they're
For
already working on it.
the proposed dedication, is it traversed by any arroyos that the county needs to be made aware of that would potentially lead
Not
to
in that
necessity
way.
for culverts and whatnot in the future?
No, there's that one 20-foot easement that's being dedicated as a 20-foot easement, but we've already, leveled it off so that it's a gradual slope. And last time that, not this rain event that we had, but the last rain event that we had, I went out there personally to see how much water was really going through that channel, and it's minimal. It's really doesn't really flow as, I guess, as big as it looks. I guess because on the east side of Highway 83, there is a stop tank or a pond that's holding back a pretty good amount of the water that would maybe have passed through there, in the past, like 50 years ago or something. But now, last time it rained, there was very little water through it.
Is the 50-foot easement wide enough to, at some point in time, cover a county road and also necessary easements on each side of the road in case there is ever the need for, they ever get water and sewage and things like that?
It allows for 10 feet on each side. So currently, they are installing a water line at the owner's expense. They're installing a water line on the south side of the road. It's a 30-foot road. In the future, if it does ever get paved, they would just add the curb and gutter, but it would still stay 30 foot. And then so you'd have 10 feet on either side for if they want to run power poles through there, or fiber optic, or for Spectrum or whoever might want to come in to provide services there.
Is there any deed restrictions, sorry to interject there, but any deed restrictions that you know that were placed in that would possibly affect Zapata County in any way?
No, that would affect Zapata County, no.
Yeah, and or access to or anything of that nature, necessary?
No, that's why we kind of reviewed it to make sure that, in terms of Zapata County, that we're covered, in terms of, not having to be responsible for bringing in, any, whether utilities or anything like that.
I did notice on the diameter of the water line, is it 2 inch, that would be sufficient for?
It's a 2 inch, yes,
Okay.
and that's what we have. We have 10, so that's the requirement from the state that
That'll
you
be
put up to
sufficient.
10 meters, so then that would be
Okay,
maxed out.
That's fine.
At that point.
I need a motion, Commissioner, I think it's
I
a good development, yeah.
Yes, we had it was,
Motion by-
Zapata.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
that's-
Gonzalez.
To accept with all requisite dedication.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Counselor.
Yes, Judge.
Item number 31 is to approve Sheriff's Department reorganization of department positions and adjustment of salary to meet new job descriptions for departmental objectives. All changes do not affect the county's 2020-2021 sheriff budget. Morning, Sheriff.
Morning.
Commissioner, it's in your packets, I guess, they proposed a general order.
Morning, Sheriff.
Morning. Good morning. Morning, beautiful. Figueroa, Commissioners.
I think as a new elected official, Sheriff, I mean, I think you have a lot of discretion as to how you're gonna reorganize your department, so I have no objections to that.
Thank
I
you.
think overall that the salaries seem to be, the overall budget seems to be in line with the current spending. Did you get a chance to review that, Ms. Nelly, as far as the positions? Are we adding any monies? Are there any overages to the?
I'll make a motion to
So,
approve.
Second.
motion by Commissioner Garza, seconded by Commissioner Mendoza. I think, looking at your general order, it seems to me that some of those, my only concern is that it's something about how many peace officers are actually patrolling.
Mhm.
Are you keeping that in place? I know some of them have been, I guess, confirmed to be, I guess, administrative positions, but you were able to move some others to I just want to make sure that we got enough deputies.
Yes, I would like to do that right now. Mr. Manuel Ramirez, he's the chief deputy, he's also will be out on patrol.
Okay.
Like he was in our jail only.
Yes.
So he's a licensed peace officer, he'll be assisting us.
Okay.
Commander Fernando, Freddy Hernandez.
Yeah, because it's been
He's also a certified peace officer. He
yeah,
will be
so
also on
they'll be
patrol.
joining, and that's good to hear that,
And, Captain Elizondo, he's part of patrol as well, and the liaison for emergency management. So he'll be out there as well, and of course myself.
I know, Sheriff, I appreciate that, and so we got a motion in a second. Motion by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Mendoza. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And
Motion-
what I do want to add, Judge, is the position for Ms. Adriana for personnel and mental health coordinator.
Yes, well, that was part of the general, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, okay. All those
Thank you,
positions
sir.
were already established.
Thank you.
Okay. So,
Judge, and I do want to mention that I spoke to Sheriff Del Bosque. He is going to be increasing, of course, the working relationship with Border Region as well, to be able to benefit our community and our constituents. Through, of course, Ms. Figueroa's position there at the Sheriff's Department. So
Hopefully with the blessing of you, Judge, and the commissioners, we'll be able to start a mental health unit, and it'll make it easier for our office to receive grant money and everything we need to, so we can help these people out in the near future.
The COVID judges, believe it or not, has increased our mental health, I think the stress and taxing of individuals' mental stability during this time has increased quite a bit.
It's substantial.
I think there's a necessity for it in our community.
very, very good. Thank you, Sheriff. Good luck. Congratulations, too. Yes. Consent items, Commissioners, we got some,
Make a motion
free
to
lights.
approve.
Motion by Commissioner Garza,
Second.
second by Commissioner Mendoza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We've got a resolution on proclamation of cervical cancer awareness month.
motion to approve, Judge.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Garza. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We now have one item for executive session, Commissioner.
I'll make a motion to go to section,
I'll
Judge.
second the
Motion by Commissioner Garza to enter into executive session, seconded by Commissioner Mendoza. The item to be heard is consultation with attorneys with matters concerning Zapata County versus Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. With that, Executive session to report to pursuant to Texas Government Code Title 5, Chapter D, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney. We are now in executive session. How does this work off?
Yeah, it's off, Judge. It's on. If it's red, it's on. Yeah. Off. I mean.
Make it go his way.
Was it on or?
Something went wrong with the system, my commissioner says that it didn't work.
Yo no le movía nada, Paquito.
No, no.
Oye, my handprint, my
We
fingerprints
haven't
aren't
paid them
there.
yet.
That's the problem, right?
Okay, so yeah, we're back.
No, cancel check.
Otra vez, we're
Judge, we gotta find, something to do with that, awesome, Zapata County plaque that we have.
That's from the district court.
Is that where it's from?
Yes, they
Okay.
just brought it over.
It's heavy duty.
Yeah, Roxy's ordering one for us here.
Great, great.
I make a motion to go back to regular session.
Motion by Commissioner Garza to return to regular
I'll
session.
second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Mendoza. For the record, no action was taken in executive session. Item number 32 is consultation with attorney with matters pertaining to Zapata County versus Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, et al. No action on that item, issues.
Judge, can we recall item number 14?
14. To approve resolution of award for grant writing, grant administration services for Zapata County 2021-2022 Texas CDBG Community Development Fund.
After more information has been shared with us on the specifics of this project, specifically going to precinct 3, I'll make a motion that we approve the award to Carol Esther.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Elizondo to, I guess, award, yes.
Based on the recommendation of the committee.
Exactly. Award to Carl Esser Associates based on the committee's recommendations. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Garza, seconded by Commissioner Mendoza. We are now adjourned.
No action on,
No.
on,
See, on the down trust, nothing. All right, Commissioner, I will get you the number of the consultant, so you can introduce yourself, please. And then when you say the other